welcome to Comic Con at Home Day 3. My name is Beth Hattie here for Board Game Geek, and I am with Matt Ryan from Bezier Games, who is here to give us a quick overview or even a few turns of Silver Coin. Now, if people watching aren't familiar, Silver Coin is actually part of the Silver series, which was started in 2019 with Silver and then Silver Bullet and now Silver Coin, which is where I will now pass it over to Matt to give us all the details on how this version is uniquely different than the original two.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Beth, thank you guys for having me so much. I really appreciate it. It's great to see everybody. I hope everybody's having an amazing Comic Con from home. But yeah, Silver Coin is the third in the series. And so the first one is going to be Silver Amulet. That was the introduction to the game. It kind of introduced the mechanics and some of the base uh, iconography of the game so you people understand what certain symbols mean in the game. But after that, we released Silver Bullet, which is the second in the series. And what's unique about it is you can now mix and match those cards from each of those. And with the third in the series being Coin, it even adds more options and kind of puts it into that realm where you can really put together your ideal deck and build your ideal set of cards.
Right, so you could have like some from Amulet and some from Bullet and some from Coin and have this perfect combination that just puts you in your silver happy place.
Yeah, because for me, I know I'm really big on a little bit of take that. Like, I don't like too much. I like just enough. And so for me, I like to pull extra cards from the B deck because they have a little more take that to them, a little more player interaction. So you can mess with your opponents a little more. I know when I play with just my wife, we usually stick to the Amulet deck just to keep things very, very safe. We don't want to end up yelling at each other, mixing each other's cards up and getting angry. So we stick to the Amulet. But with Coin, it actually makes it it adds a mechanic that is also related to its token. So the bullet's a little more aggressive. So the coin's actually going to add flipping mechanics to the game. So
Oh,
there's
how
going to be a
thematically
silver
appropriate.
coin. Yeah, right there. And as you flip that, it's going to, once you earn the medallion, when you flip it, it's going to give you the ability to turn any card at the table face up or face down, yours or an opponent's. And for this deck, that specifically can be very powerful because there's cards that when they're face up, they let you eliminate other cards. There's cards that let you take additional turns. There's cards that let you uh, view all the cards at the table. So there's a lot of stuff, all the cards in a village. So there's a lot of stuff that really you want to make sure that cards are facing the right direction. And coins flip a lot. So I kind of just fit thematically very well to have a deck
Yeah.
that had a lot of flipping mechanics in it.
Well, since we
Oh, yeah.
have the luxury of a more leisurely interview, let's assume that people watching actually have never played any of the series at all. And let's actually just kind of start from the beginning and give people a full overview of what a turn's going to be like and how they're going to win. And then we can follow that up with some more of those differences, maybe look at some of the specific cards to coin, and sort of then once they have a framework of the turn structure, then that flipping mechanic is going to probably make a lot more sense.
Okay, cool. So, Silver's mechanics are based on a game called Cabo, where you have face down cards in front of yourself. And what your goal is to take cards from the discard pile or the draw pile and either exchange them with cards in front of yourself or discard them to use their abilities. Now, some of the cards are going to have abilities that let you view cards, exchange cards. And so you're going to spend this time turning cards face up and face down, looking at your abilities and trying to utilize them the best to get the lowest score. When the player's confident that they have the lowest score, they call for the vote. And so all the other players will take one additional turn. If the player who called for the vote is correct, they get 0 points for that round. If they're incorrect, they have to take the total of the cards in front of themselves and add 10. And you're going to play in a total of 4 rounds. Whoever at the end of the 4 rounds has the lowest score is going to be the winner. And so this is one of those games that feels like one of the card games that you might have used to play as a kid with your family. But it's got a lot of those gamer momentums and mechanisms in there to really keep it exciting as well.
Well, it's neat. This is also well, the whole Silver series is an implementation of a werewolf esque flavor to a card game.
Yeah, exactly. And it is, it's a werewolf theme. And I actually, when the first one came out, we pretty frequently got the question, is this a social deduction game? I was excited to be able to tell people no, because
No.
werewolves, especially in the board game world, are very much bucketed into social deduction. People hear the word werewolf, they
Hmm.
assume it's social deduction, but they're just like vampires or mummies. They're just mythical creatures that want to be recognized as individuals.
Although in some ways not recognized in that
Yeah,
the
not
werewolves are
overly
traditionally this
recognized. Yeah,
card game. Well, they're also scored quite high, which makes it more likely that you're probably not going to have the lowest total when someone calls for vote.
yeah, exactly. And so the other big thing about silver, I think, that really attracts a lot of attention is the art. And so the art for the cards in silver is really, really cool. A lot of times we hear people comparing it to like How to Train Your Dragon sort of feel to it.
Hmm.
But it's really, really unique. And it's one of those things that I think when people catch a glimpse of one of the cards or one of the characters, they're like, oh, what's that character from? I think I recognize them, but they're all just super adorable little guys. And I'd probably say in this deck, the zero might be my favorite. And the only reason the zero might be my favorite is because I know you guys all know Ted very well. The zero card is actually going to be Athena, who is Ted's dog, drawn as a puppy. So it was a hidden Easter egg that I absolutely love.
Well, in the oh wow, that is really
She's cute.
And I think it's worth mentioning too that the it's a team of artists. I'm gonna try and not mutilate their names, but it was Taylor Bogle,
Mm-hmm.
and
Bogle, yeah.
Andre Golif. Yeah, and they've done they've been the two artists for the whole trilogy so far. They've done Silver, Amulet, and Bullet, and now Coin as well. So
Yeah, and so Taylor has mainly done like the dressings to the cards, whereas the other artist is doing the actual character rendition. So all the backgrounds and the symbology and all the other stuff, it's Taylor, and then all the characters that come through are from the other gentleman. And we actually have a stack of art for some of the other characters that are going to be coming out in future games. So what happens is he just sends a ton of pictures of characters he's drawn up to Ted, and then Ted's like, "I want to make this one, and I got an idea for this one," and so it's really fun because Ted also has
I
a
actually
big
hear
list of
Ted's
powers
voice
in
when you're
his
saying.
head.
I hear Ted's voice when you're saying this one and this one and this one. I can you have channeled him accurately.
My inner Ted, I feel 6 feet tall. So it's so neat because he also has a spreadsheet full of powers for silver too. So he has all these ideas for future decks and future things to come out, because it's such a cool idea to have a card game that can just keep going as long as people continue to show interest. And silver's been getting a lot of buzz, so we've been really excited to keep doing things with it. We're play testing some of the stuff for E right now. D is pretty much completed and getting ready to be sent off to the printers, and then E will be coming out. So we're working on playtesting and figuring out what cards are going to be in that deck currently.
So, and just in case if people didn't catch that, so it's an alphabet series: A, Amulet; B, Bullet; C, Coin; D, yet to be announced; E, yet to be announced.
I think that D, there might be on the internet somewhere, you may be able to figure out what it is, because I think that maybe Ted's dropped in an interview or two, but
Okay.
I know that we're not supposed to talk about it yet, so you'll have to hunt it down.
We'll leave it at the next letter in the alphabet. That's
Yeah, exactly,
sufficient.
exactly. E, we're actually not decided on E, so if anybody has good E suggestions, feel free to shoot them to the Bezier email because we're looking for something really good for E. We have a
Now, one of
couple
the things
ideas, but they're just not like super peppy.
One of the things I'm curious about is I remember from Amulet that you had a wonderful card organizer built into the box. And when I was looking up pictures of Coin, I didn't happen to see any pictures of the inside of the box. And so if Lincoln or Nikki have the box handy, I'm curious to see if there's that same awesome organizer is available for this one as well. Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so there's multiple neat things about this organizer. It's by Game Trays, who obviously you guys know Game Trays do killer inserts. So with this one, it fits all your stuff, and you can actually there's a piece of foam in the bottom of the box. So if you're somebody who likes to sleeve cards like me, you remove the small piece of foam from under the plastic insert, and the insert sits a little lower in the box, and it still holds your sleeved card. So you don't have to get a new box or a new way to package or hold it. And it also holds multiple decks. So you can put all your ones in one of the slots, all your twos in one of the slots. And so you have an easy time grabbing them as you're trying to pick and match what numbers and cards you want to have in your ideal deck.
Yeah, because they sit pretty close to the lid, I know from my copy too that they're very tumble friendly. You can flip it on the tall side or the short side, and they really stay put, which
Yeah, you
is
don't
what
have
you
to
hope
like
for in an
wince in
organized
pain when you hear them like shuffle around because you know they're safe in there.
game. Well, since the guys have a 4-player game set up, let's actually do a few mock turns, which is going to be all the more interesting because if you and I are playing Matt, we don't actually know what our cards are. So that's going to be awesome.
That's okay. It's more of a challenge.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So if Lincoln or Nikki don't mind, maybe just reshuffling out or just flipping them over. Yeah, that's fine too. Honestly, Matt and I could probably be one of the ones you've just exposed, and we could try and remember, or you could just deal something out totally random, and that will be its own adventure.
So silver is actually available for silver coins available to order now. So if you guys are interested in picking it up, the other two in the silver series are also available on our website, beziergames.com. So if you guys are interested, please go over there and check them out. Check out some of the art for the other games too, because like I said, the art is really, really good.
Well, Matt, I nominate you to go first, and you'll have to tell Lincoln or Nikki if you are going to be left, top, right, or bottom in the 4-player setup that they have, just so they know sort of which pool of cards is yours.
Okay, I will go first, and then I will be the one, we'll say on the bottom, because I think that'll be the easiest. And I'll go ahead and take the face up one and exchange it for my center card. And then my center card goes face up to the discard pile.
A 9. Well, I will continue clockwise around your setup. I will be the left hand vertical. Sure. And there you go. I'm not sure if our camera feed is reversed or not. I don't particularly want that 9. And I don't know the powers yet, which also makes this extra interesting. So I'm going to take the card off the top of the deck. And let's
I'll
look at
close my
that.
eyes so you can look at it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So flip that over. We could even put it on the green screen if you guys wanted, so I can read what it does. I will discard that to use its power, which was exchange the top card of the village power. Maybe, Matt, you can help me out here because you're going to know those powers a little bit better off the top of my head. So
yes. So you'll actually put the 11 just off to the side of the deck because you're going to be exchanging that 9 into somebody's village.
Let's put the 9 as one of the cards on the top. You pick, I don't care.
Oh, you can't interact with village. Are Lincoln, are they going to play with us on these other ones?
Yeah, up to you guys.
Yeah, if they want to, they can. If you're not having people play that hand, we can't interact with it. But they can play with us, so why don't we make that one of theirs?
I did already.
And then the 11 goes back on top of that. Perfect.
There we go.
So you're essentially burying someone's card. You're kind of taking it from them, and you're able to bury it so they can't get it back.
And I'm happy with that move because they got a slight upgrade that their 8 turned into a 9.
This one interacts. This interacted with this. So it's this. Okay.
Okay. So Matt and I are not looking. And Nikki is now doing a thing. Oh. So Nikki did a power and put something into her village. That's the correct term, right, Matt? If either your 5 cards is your village?
It is. So the theming of it is you're running a village. You're kind of a mayor of a village, and you have these residents. and each resident has a certain power. And depending on how powerful their power is, they attract werewolves, because mystical powers always attract werewolves. So the stronger their power is, the more werewolves they attract to your village. So that's why you're trying to get a low total, because you want to have the least werewolves in your village at the end.
You know, I never knew sort of thematically why it worked mechanically, or either that or Ted told me years ago and I had just forgotten. Oh, so we got some pondering on is it Lincoln's turn or is it back to Matt?
It is my turn.
Okay.
And if you guys are interested in playing one-on-one against the computer, there's actually a free app you can download for Silver. It's only got Amulet in it, but we're working on rolling out the B deck. So the Bullet deck will be incorporated hopefully in the next month or two, is our goal to roll out the B deck into it. And you'll be able to mix and match the cards from the A and B deck in the app to actually see how multiple cards and multiple decks interact before you break them out in person. So that's really, really cool.
What platforms is the digital version available?
Android and iOS currently.
All right. Oh, and Matt, you've
your
had
turn.
a couple suggestions on an E for Elixir.
Ooh, we haven't kicked that one around yet. That might be a good one.
And it's your turn, Matt.
Oh.
Well, maybe we'll do one
All
more
right.
one more loop around.
So I'll take the card
Scoring.
from the draw
We're gonna
pile.
scoring.
Okay.
And then I will discard it because I caught a glimpse of what it. There we go. So this one's kind of fun. He's the village idiot, so I can exchange cards from a village to another village, but it'll go all the way around. So I want to exchange my furthest right card into Beth's village for her center card.
Okay.
And then
I
her
don't know what
center
any of my
card,
cards
I want to send up to the top village and exchange it for the
Oh.
furthest right card. And then I want that furthest right card to go over to Mr. Lincoln in exchange for his center card. And then I want his center card to come into my village. Now, he is the village idiot, so you don't get to look at any of the cards, but you do get to switch them around. And then I'm actually going to use the ability of the 1. So if you want to put it up on the close camera, you guys can see that the 1 is actually going to allow me to take an additional turn once I flip it upside down. So this is where those flipping mechanics come in. It's really important. So I'm going to turn him face down, which will allow me to take an additional turn. And I'll take another card from the draw deck. And I'll look at it. And I'm going to keep that and exchange it for my furthest left card. And that'll come into my village face down. Ah, I didn't want to discard that one. Oh, that's the disadvantage to not knowing your cards, right? You're lucky, Beth.
That
You got
seems-
that one.
I am lucky. I am very happy to take that 0. And I think I will use it, and I don't really know any of my decks, so, but nothing could be better than getting a 0. So I'll take my 4th card down, my second to bottom most. Yeah, that one. And now we get to see what it was. Oh!
Ooh, 13.
Lovely.
Yeah, that 13's a double-edged sword in this one. So if you get a score that's less than 13, you actually get 0 points for the round. But if you go over 13, so if you get 13 or greater, you actually becomes a value of 13. So it's a really volatile card to have face up because you're never sure if someone's going to drop some extra points to at the end. So.
I always wondered if that was a little twist on a shoot the moon, only because, moons and werewolves and... Am I making
There's
up
actually,
here?
so, I totally get, there's actually a card that is coming out, and it's going to be in the D deck that is a shoot the moon mechanic specifically. And it is, I mean, there's a joke to it. So yeah, that's funny that you said that. That's hilarious.
Oh, Nikki's doing a thing. Well, and I hope as people are watching too that they get a good idea that in watching us play and in seeing how simple this is, that basically you're doing a thing with a card and it's probably interacting with your village. That would be true. That you pretty much have the structure to learn Amulet and Bullet as well. Like this is a 3-for-1 interview here.
Yeah, exactly. It's the basic mechanic of the game. The symbology is the important thing. Sometimes it's when you read the description on a card, it can sound a little confusing the first time, but after you use it, it's very, very easy. But it is, and it also even goes back to playing Cabo. So if you have somebody who's not a gamer at all, which I know during these times, a lot of times you end up breaking out games with people who maybe haven't played a ton of games just because they're in your bubble and you're like, hey, let's play a game. So Cabo is an excellent place to start if somebody is not a gamer at all, because it's just numerics.
Yeah.
There's not really any powers on the cards. There's a couple, I think you can swap and peek and spy, but other than that, there's no powers on any of the cards. It's just numbers and you're trying to get a low total. So it's very simple. If you have younger kids, it's a great one to get on.
I'm playing the original game.
And a really teeny tiny itty bitty box as well.
What is that?
Absolutely. Put it right in your pocket.
You know, just since we're talking about Cabo now, because you guys also had a very particular, I know we don't have a version of Cabo in front of us, but if people watching, if they go look this up on BGG, it would be a Cabo 2nd edition. And just kind of look for Bezier's logo in the corner there, because that one also had a completely different, but also really unique visual style, very geometric style to it.
Yeah, so when when we picked up that title to start publishing it, it was really cool because we wanted to keep that like the weird feeling to the art, because original Cabo, you look at the cards and you're like, this is neat, but it's all kind of weird. So it still have like a weird-ish feeling, because it's kind of one of the quirks about the game that I really like, but we were able to turn it into something that's at least semi-themed. So we're excited. It's got a little white rabbit or cat, or I don't know. We don't know what he is, but Ted won't tell us what he is. But he's a little white bunny creature that runs around, and yeah, he's in Cabo, and you're trying to catch a unicorn, so it's pretty awesome.
Maybe it's Athena's spirit animal, if dogs.
That
have
could
spirit
totally be.
animals.
He has his cats and his dogs as Easter eggs in a ton of the game. So typically, if you see an animal in a Bezier game, odds are it's a rendition of one of Ted's animals in some capacity, which is really cool.
That is really cool. Just shows you how much passion a lot of people have in this industry, that they want to connect it to themselves. They want to use it as an expression of themselves in so many ways. And I love it when people put in Easter eggs like that, just as a way to have that little extra layer of meaning.
Well, yeah, and it's fun when you finally catch it, because there's games I've played a ton of times, and it's like sometimes it'll be the 3rd or 4th time playing through before I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like, I get it. It's hilarious. Or I even see it. I've seen it and I'm like, I don't understand it. So I love finding stuff like that. It gives a game that you like and play so much already just that much more intrinsic value to just putting it on a table.
You've got a nice compliment from Wilhelm Wolf in the chat. I played this a bunch with Bezier guys at Gamma. I already liked the game before, but it was still fun to play with them. It's always a good sign when somebody says, oh, I've already played it a ton and I still want to play it some more.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm glad we got to play. It's one of the ones that I will never refuse a chance to play. There's some games that, like when New York Slice first came out, I demoed it so much. I was like, I'm okay sitting out, just because it was a lot. With Silver, every time someone's like, oh, do you want to play or do you want to demo it? I'm like, yes. Like, let me in. I have to beat everybody.
Well, that might say something different about you.
Yeah, well, I get beat enough at the office that when I go to like conventions and stuff, it's nice to have the edge.
It's your leveling ground, yeah.
Yeah, Ted doesn't take it easy on us. When I first started there, he told me that there's a no mercy rule, that like, even though I designed the games, I will beat you at them every time. I'm not going to take it easy. And I'm like, ooh, that's rough.
Well, Matt, in our final minute here, was there anything else from Bezier that news-wise upcoming? Obviously, you gave a little sneak peek that Silver's going to have a D&E deck as well, but anything else you wanted to share?
Yeah, so there's a cool thing we rolled out on our website called the Wolf Pack, which is $5 a year to be a part of. And what it gets you is it gets you preferential pre-orders. So when you pre-order and everybody else pre-orders, if you're in the Wolf Pack, yours get shipped out first. It gets you free shipping in the US and discounted shipping everywhere else. And it has monthly specials. So typically, if you could buy 1 or 2 games a year, your shipping's going to be well over $5 anyway. So might as well join Wolfpack and get it free. And the other cool thing is we have 2 other titles, Whistle Mountain and Maglev Metro, coming out later this year that are available for pre-order on our website. So check those out too if you guys have some time. But if not, definitely get Silver. It's one that I cannot recommend enough.
Well, and if you guys want to check that out, that was Silver Coin, which is part of the Silver series, starting with Amulet and then Bullet. Coin is now the 3rd one in the series. And Matt Ryan from Bezier Games, thank you again.